Hi, my name is Tawana Payne, and I am a Master's of Arts student in the Child Study and Education program at the University of Toronto. This is a video about self-efficacy in math class. Teachers provide the foundation to prepare students for future math learning. We plan, teach, and facilitate the learning of math facts and fundamental skills like problem solving and critical thinking. We hope our students will gain confidence in their math abilities. However, not all of them do. So what can we as educators do to help these students? In this video, I will share an experience that inspired this project, discuss what self-efficacy is, and lastly, describe 3 strategies that can be used to help increase student self-efficacy in math. While observing a combined grade 4-5 classroom, I saw a trend of dislike towards math. I noticed students had low motivation when it came to math and delayed starting their math work. They doubted their abilities, saying things like, I can't, I'm bad at this, or this is a dumb answer. They were apprehensive towards making mistakes and expressed that they were no good at math. Overall, the data I collected provided evidence that these students were doing well in the subject but did not think they could succeed at it. Therefore, I needed to learn how to boost their confidence and increase their mathematics self-efficacy. Albert Bandura explains that as children experience success in different areas, they begin to develop a sense of confidence in their abilities, which can be called self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is a sense of one's capabilities to master challenges and achieve goals in a specific domain. Bandura highlighted 4 principal sources from which learners obtain information that interacts to affect their self-beliefs. The first source is mastery experiences. Experiences of achievement or perceived success in a task can boost self-efficacy as the individual gains a sense of mastery over that task, where perceived failure can lower self-efficacy. The second source is vicarious experiences. Observing a peer take on a task can influence the observer's beliefs that they can do the same, especially when they see this peer as similar to themselves or someone they can relate to. The third source is verbal persuasion. Feedback and high expectation from adults, such as educators, can guide students through the task and motivate them to persevere. The fourth source is physiological and affective states. This describes physical and mental states that are linked to our sense of self-efficacy. It may be helpful to gather information or reflect on how your students may be experiencing these sources of information and how it affects their mathematics self-efficacy. How might your teaching and planning play a role, and what changes can you make to help your students shape a more positive and accurate image of their abilities and potential to succeed in math? It is important to note that self-efficacy is only one factor that might be affecting a student's experiences with math. It's important to collect data and analyze the unique profile of the students you are working with to ensure that you are meeting their individual needs. Self-efficacy can affect how a student looks at a task. High efficacy can help a child see a task as a challenge to be mastered. If students believe they can master their work and regulate their learning, they are more likely to do well in school. Whereas low self-efficacy can cause them to doubt their abilities and be hesitant towards difficult tasks. Students who do not believe in their ability to succeed tend to become frustrated, and for them, success can seem unattainable. Therefore, it is so important to empower all of our students in our math classes and help our learners believe that they are capable of success. As we search for new learning experiences and interventions to use with our students, we must base our decisions on current research. Next, I'm going to share 3 specific strategies supported by research that can help improve student self-efficacy in math. The first strategy is creating time for reflection in math classes. One specific way this can be done is by using math journals. Each child would have their own math journal, and the educator would give the class or groups of students prompts, questions, or tasks to complete in these journals. Journal entries that educators choose should relate to the math learning being done and incorporate specific skills, vocabulary, and reflection. One example is having the class write about how they used a specific skill in math that day, and then reflect on how comfortable they felt using that skill. In their journals, students can be prompted to self-assess and set goals in math. goal setting and reflection are supported in improving student self-efficacy in math. A journal is a great tool to have student learning all in one place. They keep a record of student math learning and draw students' attention to the progress they have made, which may improve their self-efficacy in math. In addition to promoting reflection and helping them realize the knowledge they have, journals can also aid math learning as they help students to remember and recall what they have learned. If students are unfamiliar with self-reflection, they will need to be introduced to the process and supported through it. Also, students who experience difficulty with writing may need additional accommodations during journal writing tasks. The second strategy is incorporating cooperative tasks into math classes. Children can be asked to work in pairs or small groups to complete math tasks, such as solving a word problem that requires them to use creative thinking, show multiple solutions, and problem solve. During cooperative tasks, students explain their thinking and respect the ideas of others, which can result in them understanding the topic more deeply. This can also increase student confidence and comfort with the subject matter. Also, cooperative learning allows students to witness similar peers succeeding in math, and these models can help students believe that they can also master the material. Not every child will feel comfortable in a cooperative task or know how to engage with them. Therefore, before we use them in our classrooms, learning needs to be done to ensure the environment is safe and ensure every child knows the protocols and base skills required for cooperative activities. You can teach your class skills to support their cooperative learning, such as how to disagree with a peer respectfully or what it means to actively listen. To support yourself in this move, professional learning on how to appropriately use cooperative tasks in your classroom may be beneficial. In addition, you can reflect and evaluate your own use and facilitation of these tasks, potentially with the help of a critical friend. The final strategy is incorporating children's literature into your math lessons. Throughout these math-related stories, reflective questions can be asked that prompt students to think about associated math concepts. Students can also be guided to reflect on what the characters are experiencing and connect this to their own lives. Strategies that relate to persisting, creative thinking, and problem-solving in math can be discussed during these stories. Modeling how to deal with mistakes and failures and providing coping strategies is associated with increases in children's mathematics self-efficacy. These coping strategies can be modeled by characters in a story and further discussed by the educator. Children's literature can be a way to increase student confidence in their abilities to solve problems, think, use their imaginations, understand math, and be creative. Using stories can lower math anxiety, increase student interest and confidence in the subject, and provide diverse examples that mathematics is something everyone can participate in. You may experience barriers in accessing books, such as the lack of funding, access to libraries, or other convenient resources. Therefore, you may require support in finding and gaining access to books of high quality to use in your classroom. When implementing an intervention or new practice, it's important to collect data to see how the changes we're making impact our students. Some suggestions for data collection relating to the moves that I've shared are giving students questionnaires throughout the year to track potential changes in their mathematics self-efficacy. Similarly, you can have conferences with your students throughout the implementation of a move. Other suggestions are observing students to track things like engagement, confidence, and persistence. While collecting data, here are some specific behaviors you can look for in your classroom that might signal growth in student self-efficacy in math. Students may attempt difficult tasks with perseverance and work harder and longer at these tasks. They may set and commit to more appropriate goals for themselves. And lastly, your students might display more positive emotions towards math, such as feelings of calm, seeming more confident, and believing in their abilities to succeed. We have the power to shape our students' experiences, and the choices we make in our teaching and planning have the potential to help students who have low math self-efficacy start to believe that they can develop their skills and succeed. Building our knowledge of what self-efficacy is and using current research-based interventions and strategies that address low self-efficacy can help us help our students to grow and succeed. Thank you for watching.